So where do we want to kick off with tonight? We start with a bit of Troy Deeney, actually, shall we? For people who need me to explain who Troy Deeney was, perhaps. Troy Deeney was a championship level footballer who sometimes played in the Premier League. And he's been mouthing off a little bit about Mohamed Salah, and I'm going to be here to call out the nonsense from Troy Deeney. So let me just read out to you what Troy Deeney has said, in case you haven't seen it, and then we'll talk about why he's absolutely deluded. So this is what Troy Deeney's had to say on why he doesn't think Mohamed Salah is world class. Now, I could stop right there, and you'd all agree with me, because just saying that out loud just feels embarrassing. Imagine an actual footballer who played the game at a high level trying to say that Mo isn't world class. But anyway, this is what he had to say. My argument has always been that I just don't think he's world class, said Troy. But world class is just a different opinion. What I think of world class is what I would want my kids to play like. What type of player that is. That's what I think is world class. Now, he goes on to say, if I was asking my kids who want to be forwards, I would be saying I would like them to look more at what Vinicius Jr. does, as opposed to Mohamed Salah. So let me start unpacking this for you. And whilst, of course, I don't want to speak about another man's family or children, he did bring up that he would like his kids to emulate and look at what Vinny Jr. is doing. Now, what I would say to Mr. Deeney is, I'm not here to belittle what Mr. Vinicius Jr. has done, but if you want to show your kids somebody who they should look to grow up to be like, I would argue that a record-setting, top-notch footballer who's also a great human being, who plays with respect and dignity and shows his best side to the world, would be a pretty good example to kids. And I think Mohamed Salah is certainly that. But no, Troy Deeney would rather his kids grow up to be like Vinny Jr., throw his toys out of the pram when he doesn't win the Ballon d'Or, cry arse at referees at every occasion, and don't show up to award ceremony if you're not getting the award. Cool. Well done, Troy. Great role model to be looking at there. Now look, football-wise, excellent footballer Vinicius Jr. But to try and justify your lack of saying Mohamed Salah is world class and using that as the example that you would want kids, and particularly in this occasion his own children, to grow up like, it's pretty silly. Look, Troy Deeney saying Mohamed Salah is world class is just another reminder why there are certain people who shouldn't have a platform to spout their ill-informed bullshit opinions. And Troy Deeney is another one of those. He would crawl over broken glass to be anywhere near the type of footballer Mohamed Salah is, and we all know it. So if you don't want to admit that Mohamed Salah is world class, then you, sir, are a clown. I have nothing else to say. It is absolute nonsense to come out and say that Mohamed Salah is not world class. And you're only making your own legacy look even worse. So I don't have to go on and talk about TalkSport and the opinions of particularly the Brummies on there, by the way, that seem to be going out of their way to take cheap shots at Liverpool and talk out their backsides. But on this one, I feel comfortable in saying I do speak for every Liverpool fan when I say, one, Troy, your opinions are kind of irrelevant to us, mate. And also, you're just saying that to get a reaction, because there's no right-minded, rational human being that knows football, and Troy did play it at the high level, that wouldn't think he's world class. So stop looking for attention. You're getting it now. You're getting a little bit, Troy, and I know you probably need it, mate. But stop talking out your arse, because you're not making yourself look very clever here. Mohamed Salah is world class by any metric, by anyone with a rational mind's opinion. And you just need to stop, because it's foolish, it's embarrassing, and you should be rising above that. Absolute stupidity of the highest order. Imagine trying to say Mohamed Salah isn't world class. It's honestly, it boils my blood, because these clowns have platforms and people actually seek out this type of stupidity. It baffles me. Like, this man gets on Match of the Day, TalkSport, all to spout this bullshit so they can get clicks, and it drives anger and it keeps the conversation going. I get it, but it's not a real opinion, because I, as a football fan, cannot for the life of me believe that somebody like Troy Deeney doesn't recognise that Mohamed Salah is world class. I can't believe that it's true. So I have to think it's bait, because he couldn't be that dumb. He just couldn't be. What I think of world class is, would I want my kids to play like that player? That's what I think is world class. That in itself is nonsensical. Because would I want my kids to play like that player? is just his... It is his view, as he's saying, but it makes no sense. Mohamed Salah, by any metric, is world class. There wouldn't be a player at the top level that doesn't agree that Mohamed Salah is world class. And when I see these type of takes from him and the other clown on TalkSport, Gabriel Agbonlahor, I think they're just looking for attention. And yeah, sometimes they're going to get it because it does rile us up. But I also feel it's important that they're called out for their stupidity, because it is just that, the height of stupidity. He goes on to say, if I was asking my kids who want to be forwards, I would be saying I would like them to look at what Vinicius Jr. does as opposed to Mohamed Salah. Now let's just look at that again for a second. What does Vinny do that Mo doesn't do? He's younger than Mo, so maybe he has that burst of energy a bit more than Mo. But you go back and look at Mo 4 or 5 years ago. He was flying past defenders down the wing. He was ripping them to shreds, turning them inside, outside, scoring all different types of goals. There is no world where Vinicius Jr. has done anything Mohamed Salah has not done. Vinicius is a great footballer and lovely to watch. But I would want my kids to follow the example of the man who shows kindness to the world, who is a model professional, who doesn't throw his toys out with the pram and cry arse about not winning a Ballon d'Or and not showing up, and who doesn't moan at referees every 2 minutes. This, to me, from Deeney is just bait, and I probably shouldn't react to it, but he has to be called out because it's absolute bullshit. And I don't want any child or any person watching this thinking that, oh, maybe Mo Salah isn't world class. Maybe we're just being exaggerating his class. No, Mohamed Salah is world class by any goddamn metric. And Troy Deeney knows that. He knows that deep down. So don't fall for it because it's bullshit. Let's see what Vinny does when he be 32. Exactly, mate. Exactly. With Mohamed Salah, we're talking about longevity here as well. So, I've got something here that Dave O.C. Cop posted. Said, Mohamed Salah, speaking at a book event today in the United Arab Emirates, said, in life, nothing comes easy. One needs to have discipline and consistency to achieve his dreams. One needs to navigate through the intense pressures of elite sport and life and things with calmness. Not every day on the field is your best day. Sometimes the performance is not up to the mark. Then the fear of pressure creeps in. Here, reading shapes you. The more you read, the more your self-confidence builds up. It's reading that ultimately contributed to the development of myself as a player. We, at the club, read about optimal training regimes, nutritional guidelines, and the importance of developing healthy habits. You know those good reads are important for everyone, not just sports persons. Again, just an incredible role model as a man.